welcome back, you lovely people. Hope everyone is doing well. It's been a few weeks because we got the bank holiday off. So I hope you've all had a great bank holiday, enjoying the weather, keeping yourself entertained while there's not much happening in the crypto market. Let me make sure everyone's on mute. There we go. Okay, perfect. So this is our Ask Me Anything for anybody who's new. The clue's in the title. So pop any questions in the chat or in the comments and I'll get to them. And I'll initially, I have had some sun. I was burned a few days ago and now it's looking good. So worth the pain. Yeah, somebody told me to stop using sun cream because it's not good for you, I'm told. So now I'm burning myself. I don't know if that's better, but whatever. Okay, right. So let me give a quick market update, which will be quick because there's not much to talk about if we're being perfectly honest. Bitcoin's flat today and has been flat for a number of weeks now. And this is not a bad thing. It may be a little boring when we're used to the number going up all of the time, but the market has been shaken, as we know. We have been talking for months that we would have a early summer war of attrition, and that's exactly what we're in. Yes, the pullback was more than we expected, but at least we were ready mentally for something like that. We're in it, right? We're still in it, and we're now consolidating. We're off the low. We're well off the low. That's 30,000. We're at 30, just under 36,000. And we are, from a technical perspective, we're very much looking like Bitcoin wants to make a decision soon about whether to make a decent leg up or down. Can't say which one it's going to be, unfortunately. But so the question everybody's therefore asking is, was that the top? 65,000 the top? And I do not believe it was the top by any means. It doesn't look like a top. We didn't have a parabolic phase. And do we believe that Bitcoin is going to see more demand over the next, let's call it the rest of this year, than now? And over the first part of this year, well, we've just had the first country, El Salvador, recognize Bitcoin as money, as legal tender. And off the back of that, you have one of the congressmen in Paraguay now changing his eyes to laser eyes and saying that they're working on a project to transform Paraguay. So this is really exciting. And it's something that Bitcoiners have been telling us is going to happen forever. They play all of this stuff out, game theory. The person or the state or the country that implements Bitcoin first will win. And the most likely ones to take that leap are the ones struggling under the weight of inflation or under the weight of the current system. And that's why you're seeing El Salvador, Paraguay starting to look at Bitcoin as a solution. And this is extremely bullish. Even though the price hasn't moved on the news, we zoom out a little bit and think about what this actually means. This is incredible news. I recommend going and watching Jack Mallers' talk from the Bitcoin conference. And maybe if someone has got the link, they can put it in the chat. But it was an incredible speech by Jack Mallers, who is the CEO of Strike. Strike are a company that operates on the Lightning Network, which allows small and fast payments in Bitcoin, i.e. you can go and buy your coffee with Bitcoin using Strike and pay next to nothing in fees. For a country like El Salvador and similar countries, one of their big issues is remittances. Family members going to the US and trying to send dollars back to El Salvador to support their family and losing about 50% of that in fees. So with Bitcoin as legal tender and a company like Strike supporting, now they can send their Bitcoin back to El Salvador essentially for free, or it is for free, and it can be used as legal tender in El Salvador. I mean, you know, just think about what is being done here to lift people out of poverty and give them an opportunity. And the byproduct of that is El Salvador is going to become extremely appealing to a lot of people, and it's going to lift itself out of poverty. So what happens next? And you get the rest, the other developing countries looking at this model. And then you've already got, there is also, I mean, the Bitcoin conference is recommended watching. It's all on YouTube. But there's some congressmen and senators from the US as well who are trying to push for more pro-Bitcoin legislation. Obviously, I don't believe in legislation one bit, but there are people on the inside that are trying to make it easier and more appealing for Bitcoin. You know, one of the barriers for Bitcoin is capital gains tax. It is not treated as money yet. So that's why the El Salvador news is massive, because they don't have to pay capital gains tax. As soon as that is rolled out across the world, that disappears. We can ditch fiat and start using Bitcoin as a method of exchange. So this is exactly what we've been talking about. This is how Bitcoin fixes the world. And I think everybody here should be really proud of being part of that movement, because we're definitely on the right side of history. There are many forces on the other side, of course, who are going to fight this tooth and nail. So don't be surprised to see an increase in aggression and misinformation. And I'd say get ready for the fight, because revolutions are not going to be easy. Yeah, so look, price-wise, we all like seeing the portfolio go up in the short term as well. I very much believe that we're still in the bull market, halfway through the bull market, looking at October for our cycle peak. And it's looking more like 2013, which is in the middle of the cycle. We had a big increase, i.e. up to 65,000. And then a crash in 2013, it was like 70%. This time it was 54%. And then it took a number of months to consolidate, rather than just bouncing straight up like it did in 2017. And that looks like what we're seeing now. Everybody's regaining their footing, regaining confidence. And this what we're seeing now, we may see a decision soon, or we may just consolidate for a number of months. So just be ready for that. Patience is going to be a virtue, potentially. In 2013, from the all-time high to the cycle peak was 1.5 months. So if we play that back, I think our cycle peak is mid-October. That means we may not make the new all-time high till beginning of September. Potentially, not saying definitely. So that's June, July, August. We could have 3 months of sideways movement from there. But if we do, we're just building that base. We're building that foundation to take off from. And then I'm expecting a very sharp blow off top, maybe even more volatile than we've previously expected, and that's saying something. Looking at the cycle repeat graph as well, that's showing 297,000 cycle peak. Our target is 296,000. I think we're still in that ballpark. That certainly hasn't changed. But we're probably just going to see more sideways and then a sharper increase at the end. So let me head to the questions. We may not have as many today because, you know, the market's not doing a great deal. There was one sent in just before asking about, Michael was asking about Bitcoin dominance, and not much has changed really. Now, I was saying 4 or 5 weeks ago that the risk reward isn't there anymore with regards to altcoins, and therefore I'd be looking to be more heavily positioned in Bitcoin. And yeah, and that's pretty much what Bitcoin dominance is going sideways, essentially. I expect it to continue to go sideways. That means for me that the risk reward isn't there for altcoins because it's only worth investing in them if they're going to outperform Bitcoin. Otherwise, they're too risky. And ultimately, this is about getting as much wealth in Bitcoin as possible, in my opinion. So it doesn't look there for me, unless you have some special project which you think is going to, you know, cause loads of hype. Then there may be a case for holding that. Otherwise, it's looking like a time to accumulate Bitcoin over the next few months, ready for the cycle peak. We don't have any data from 2013 about altcoins because they didn't exist. So we can only look at 2017. And therefore, we can't be certain what's going to happen, but that would be my best guess. And then after Bitcoin peaks, I think we'll see a final alt season. So, so there may be an opportunity to rotate from Bitcoin to altcoins following the Bitcoin cycle peak. Okay, Michael on Zoom. Do you think we will get more companies adopting Bitcoin payments? Got a lot of crypto portfolio now in crypto. Are there any credit or debit cards you could recommend to spend crypto? That reminds me, our Telegram group is absolutely popping. Amazing conversation in there, all kinds of stuff going on. Get in there right now because it's going to close. It's going to close for to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. So if there's anybody on Zoom for me that can put it in the chat, that would be amazing. And if you're on Instagram, then it's in my Instagram bio. But we are going to close it soon. So there's been knowledge shared around this very question in that Telegram group recently. I know crypto.com have a card. I know Binance and Coinbase are releasing cards, but I don't think they're out yet. So that's all coming. And yes, we will definitely get more companies adopting Bitcoin payments. Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, they're all working on it. They're all releasing various options. So it is coming. It's coming. It's here, and it's going to continue. Right, on come into Instagram. What upcoming negative press could we expect, like the ESG? I'd say all of it. expect all kinds of nonsense to come over the next few months in response to what's happening in El Salvador. Yeah, but you've seen it, you felt it. Elon Musk, all this energy use nonsense. Even today, they rolled out Donald Trump on the news saying he thinks Bitcoin is a scam, and that the US dollar needs to be the world reserve currency. Obviously, anyone with half a brain who's speaking the truth knows that the US dollar is the biggest scam coin that there is. It's got an infinite supply, and it is run by a couple of central planners sat at a table deciding what to do with our futures. So US dollar is the biggest scam coin. But yeah, it's going to be relentless because it's becoming more and more of a threat to the system. You have to see that as a positive. It means that we're doing something right. If not, nobody would care. But Bitcoin is the truth, and it's hard to hide the truth or obfuscate the truth. And there's a lot of amazing innovation going on in the rest of crypto as well. So I do believe positive forces will outweigh all of that misinformation. What are the external factors that are impacting the Bitcoin price changes? There seems to be lots of speculation, but it can't all be about Elon Musk. No, it's not all about Elon Musk for sure. But I mean, you can see that it's had an impact because a couple of his tweets have caused instant drops in the price. But like I've said before, you know, of course, he's a complete dick. Of course. But he didn't sell. He wasn't the one selling. It was those that read the tweet and decided to press the sell button that are truly to blame. And it's important to not get shaken out, of course. And it's important to teach others about what's going on, because this is where, you know, everyone gets to decide now which, now I put out a tweet earlier saying the battle lines are being drawn and everybody gets a chance to decide which side they're on. And we know which is going to be the winner. But many people out there, you know, they just read the headlines in the mainstream media and they see the tweet and they don't really understand what's happening. So it's very, very important to educate those around you. So I didn't answer your question. What else is going on? Look, I'm sure there are whales and institutions that are playing some games and trying to get themselves better prices. All the smart money knows where this is going. You have some of the most successful investors in the world in the past few weeks, Ray Dalio, Stan Druckenmiller, Paul Tudor Jones, all saying that they hold Bitcoin, their funds hold Bitcoin, and that it's the future. And look, you can see on the on-chain analytics as well, the long-term holders are buying and the short-term holders are selling. That's unfortunate. But, you know, we can just make sure that we're on the right side of that. Ultimately, you know, regardless of what games are being played, we know where it's going. Those that are playing games, of course, want the price to go up anyway, but they're trying to buy some more at a lower price. Okay, maybe we'd do the same if we were whales. is there a bottom price for Bitcoin at which point you might suggest to bail out? No, there isn't. You know, the quote from my mentor is, my stop loss is 0. So I've put out some videos around the technicals, and essentially if we break down past 30,000, it wouldn't look good on the chart. We may go down to 20,000. I'm not expecting it, but it's possible. But that, and it would break our halving model if that happened, but it wouldn't break the bullish case for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is digital gold. It's the hardest, soundest money ever discovered. There will only ever be 21 million. And now is a game of trying to snap up as many as possible before it reaches escape velocity. Because one day in the future, whether that's in October or in 5 years, Bitcoin will be way past $1 million a Bitcoin. So 35,000, 30,000, 25,000, 20,000. Does it really matter what the price is right now? Yes, I get it. I would love to see it at 60,000 right now, right? But make sure you also zoom out. Hold both of those, you know, the short term and the long term in your mind. Don't forget about the long term. Most of my Bitcoin was bought between the end of Jan and recently, so it is already down. Okay, so yeah, I understand. Therefore, you know, if you bought at 65,000, say, which would be the worst case scenario, and you're down 40, well, what is it, 35%, 40%, then yeah, it's annoying, sure, but we're going to be much higher in October. And we're going to be much, much higher in 2025. Bitcoin has been the best performing asset of all time, 200% returns per year, every year. So do you want to be in the best performing asset of all time, or do you want to be in fiat currency, which loses 10 to 15% of its purchasing power every year? Katja, are there any women you recommend following in crypto? It seems very much a boys' club. There are, actually. I think there are quite a few women, and there are quite a few women doing incredible things. Lynn Alden is one of the best analysts out there, maybe the best. So definitely follow her, sign up for a newsletter. Caitlin Long is starting the first federal crypto-friendly bank, Avante. So definitely follow her. There's a couple more. If they come to my mind, then I'll shout them out as well. But no, there are, and you know, looking at the Bitcoin conference, I think there was plenty of women speakers. Oh yeah, Kathy Wood, absolutely. I mean, Kathy Wood's an absolute rock star. Have a look at the speakers from the Bitcoin conference. There was a lot of women on that stage. Theo, your thoughts on China's crypto crackdown and its potential impacts? China's crypto crackdown. So I think you're referring to Bitcoin mining, and the impacts are negligible to 0. This is the beauty of Bitcoin mining. If the hash rate goes down, i.e. if the volume of mining goes down, then the difficulty level goes down as well. It's all built into the into the code. So yes, great. But, and as well, there's been a lot of FUD around Bitcoin mining being too centralized, i.e. too much of it being in China. So this is forcing it into all kinds of different countries. I think Kazakhstan are starting to do loads of Bitcoin mining. Iran, lots of countries with US sanctions are starting to do Bitcoin mining. You can see these battle lines. And of course, a lot of it will go to the US as well. So if anybody was worried about the centralization of Bitcoin mining, then it's a very positive thing. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin mining is a profitable venture. So the free market fixes this as the free market fixes everything. If China banned Bitcoin mining, it would just go to other countries because they would make a profit. That's the beauty of free market capitalism. Are you still predicting Bitcoin going up 4 to 5x? Or do you think it will go up more now? Still looking at our 296,000 level. That hasn't changed. I can only remodel that when we make a new all-time high because I need that data. So we're still there. So, you know, that is, what is that? It's hard to do the maths at 35,000, but, you know, that's at least that. A bit more, I think. And it wouldn't surprise me if we beat it to the upside at all. But, and that might seem crazy, but just remember that when I was looking at the last cycle, 2017, we made 100% move in about 3 weeks, right? So if I'm saying 300,000 and you're going, that's a lot. Well, you know, we made on the 1st of October, we may be at 150,000. And then by the 21st of October, we're at 300,000. That's called a blow off top. And that's when it pops. Okay, so that's the sort of move that we're looking at. A lot of the big move is at the end. Sam, when is your exit strategy course coming out? I'm hungry for it, absolutely. I was planning to do it when we make a new all-time high because I can be very, and I'm still going to do it that way because I can be very contextual. I want to remodel the targets around the timing and the price. And then once I do the exit strategy training, I can be really contextual on that and make it make a lot more sense. But it's there, it's ready, because I've been taking people through it on one-to-one coaching courses, and it is going to be great. It is going to be an incredible tool for everybody. But it's we just need to get back to our all-time high, figure out when the cycle peak is going to be roughly, and then I'll do that training. It won't be long after that. It's all ready to go. But I thought this might be shorter today, and that is all of the questions. But last chance to ask anything. In the meantime, make sure you get in the Telegram group because it is the last chance. I think we're closing it in a few days. And it's an incredible, thank you, Jacqueline. It's an incredible resource for people to use. Any questions during the week, you can pop them in there. Kieran, any altcoin recommendations? You know, it ties into what I was saying at the beginning. I don't see the risk reward on altcoins being there. But if I was going to make altcoin picks right now, I'd be looking at 2 of them. Number one, Kusama, and that is because they go live with their parachains in a week, so big news and lots of activity. And it's still, you got to realize though, it does rely on the market being stable and hopefully slightly up. If Bitcoin's tanking, no altcoin is going to do well. But assuming that's not happening, then I think Kusama could be a good pick. And I believe Pirate Chain is a good pick as well, because I have a feeling that there's going to be another rush into privacy coins as people get more and more concerned with the state of the world and their governments, and they look for more private ways to hold their wealth. Whether that happens next week or next month, I'm not sure, but I see that it's going to be, that narrative is going to be very, very important. If there any news comes out about new tax regulations, you could see a massive rush into privacy coins. So that would be Pirate Chain and Monero. All right, good. Thank you everybody for joining. Stay patient. That's the main message right now. Stay patient and don't get shaken out, and don't get try not to get too stressed when you see all of this misinformation that's going to come, that's going to continue. It's going to be a non-stop stream, I'm sure, and let's hope that it doesn't shake out too many people, and then once we gain a nice solid foundation, we can begin our run up to the cycle peak. All right, thank you everybody, take care.